This is Blackjacks Weekly.
Presented by Bud Light on 97.3 ESPN.
Live from Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township. With your hosts, the voice of the Blackjacks, Nick Kosko.
And head coach Ron James.
Now, Blackjacks Weekly.
Live from Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township with Blackjacks Weekly, presented by Bud Light. Nick Kosko alongside Atlantic City Blackjacks head coach Ron James. It's our final show of the season as the Blackjacks regular season came to an end this past Sunday with a 35-28 loss to the Baltimore Brigade to finish their season at 4-8 in their inaugural 2019 campaign, which was brought to you by Tropicana Atlantic City. Bringing on my broadcast partner now for tonight, Coach. Bringing you on for the final time this year. I feel like we were just talking at Boardwalk Hall when they announced it was the AFL Atlantic City, and the colors back then were navy and gold. What are your thoughts on that real quick?
It's just crazy how fast the season goes by. I mean, you talk about a 12-game schedule in the preseason and everything that just goes by in the blink of an eye. And it was an amazing season in a lot of ways. The inaugural season here in Atlantic City was just crazy. Had its ups and its downs and a lot of positives coming out of the season, and really looking forward to 2020 and what that brings for us.
2020 is going to be a great year. We're going to dive into that, of course, in a little while. But let's take a look back. First, let's look back at Sunday's game. It was one of those weird kind of games this season because you guys have basically, aside from maybe two contests this year, have been in every single game, whether it be win or loss. You were in this game despite being down a former MVP quarterback in Randy Hippert, who was banged up for pretty much the entire second half of the season, without your stud backup, Warren Smith, who filled in valiantly and went off, was tearing up the entire league for a nice 3-4 week stretch. You're missing those two guys. You're bringing two guys in the basically not the middle of the week, but these guys get 3-4 full practices in at quarterback, new system for the final week of a season where you guys are already eliminated from the playoff contention. They come in, they both play, and you guys still only lost by 7 as your defense played outstanding. And both guys did make some nice plays to keep you guys within the football game on Sunday as well.
You know, it was kind of indicative of the way the season's been going, right? So you get that crazy circumstance, and you got a bye week at the same time, so you get the good and the bad. So, it was good to have that week off, but then to go into the following week, you only have 3 days of practice to get a new quarterback ready. And so that makes it difficult because that bye week, you would think that you'd have a guy in there and going over schemes and film and all that stuff, but you're not allowed to do that on the bye week unless you pay the whole team to come in and practice for that week, and you're not going to do that with the playoffs out of reach. So it was a difficult set of circumstances, but I thought, as a staff, and particularly Coach Stafford, the offensive coordinator, did a great job of getting those quarterbacks ready to play. Was it pretty? No. But we still had a chance to win the football game, and that's really what you want to give yourself is that opportunity. And so when we talked about the season just briefly, you look at the way it went. With 12 games, if you're going to get half of those to be one-possession games, was basically what we did, right? You got two blowout games, one that went for us, one that went against us, and one that kind of went sideways in the Albany game. So take the 3 out of that, and you got 9 games there, and they're all one-possession games. So if you can split those, then you're going to get 5 or 6 wins, depending on how well you do, and maybe your playoff team. But if you get 3/4 of them, you're going to be a playoff team, and that's always the goal.
Right, without a doubt. So just real quick on that last game, too, as you just mentioned, Coach Stafford, obviously Sergio Gilliam and Cesar Rayford are also part of your coaching staff. So as we look back on the 2019 campaign, including Sunday's game, which was, again, a mishmash of pretty much everything. The defense finally looks at the healthiest it's been since earlier in the season. Offense is all banged up as your 2 quarterbacks are missing. What kind of credit do you give your coaching staff for putting that game plan together for Sunday's game, knowing that it was just kind of maybe even putting square pegs in the round holes, and also what that coaching staff has done for you under your first year here in Atlantic City throughout the entire 2019 campaign?
Well, we talked about it all season long. Every game's important. Going into that last game, there would have been a lot of coaching staffs that would look at it and said, we got nothing to lose or nothing to gain, and let's just go out there and put our best effort forward. Certainly some people go in with that. We wanted just wanting to win the game, and my staff put in the long hours trying to get those new quarterbacks ready, trying to get their schemes right, trying to make sure we attack this with purpose and passion. And I think that they did that. I think that Sergio Gilliam as a first-year defensive coordinator learned a lot about the AFL game, and as a coach because he'd been a player for a long time. And I think Cesar Rayford as a first-year coach, learned what it was like to be a coach, and so you're in a situation where I've got 2 of my former players, and that was enjoyable for me to be able to help them coach and grow. And same with Coach Stafford I'd been with, a couple years prior, and to see him and the way he's progressed as a football coach as well. I think that they gave me everything I could have asked for and more as a staff. Brandon Lang is our player personnel director, did a fantastic job of loading that funnel, so to speak, and making sure we had good players coming in for workouts and had good players that were available through injuries. And he was probably the hardest working guy I've ever been around. And my staff showed me nothing but loyalty, and I've got nothing but love for them. And moving forward, I would hope that they'd be a part of it, coming up in the 2020 season.
Seems like 2020 may be a good opportunity for all those guys to come back for year number 2 with the Blackjacks. And you even just briefly, you mentioned before during this season how Coach Stafford might be a head coach in a couple of years because he has developed as a play caller. And I think you saw the progression of him as a play caller, just him from week 1 all the way to the last week of the season. I know the record doesn't seem indicative of that at 4-8, but it seemed like he got better as a play caller week in and week out with that offense.
Yeah, it was kind of a tale of two halves of the season, if you will, and I would agree that Coach Stafford did a great job of calling plays. And the thing that happened was that offensively we lagged a little bit in the beginning of the year, and still had ourselves in positions to win games, and the defense was playing very well in the first part of the season. Then injuries started happening on the defensive side. The defense started to lag, and the offense started to pick it up. We were never totally in sync with both sides of the ball to being healthy and to being productive. And so, that happens, and that leads you to that type of a season where you're going to be around a 500 team, and hovering in that opportunity, and certainly we were. But then when you look at it, you get those seasons where everything tumbles in the right direction. All those guys stay healthy, the team starts progressing the right way. Then you get those special seasons like we had a few years ago. But also knowing that in this league, we talked about it earlier, the teams that are in the playoffs, they've got their starting quarterbacks, and they had their starting quarterbacks throughout the whole season. We weren't as gifted that way. And so it's not to make an excuse, it's just the reality of what we had to deal with. So, when you have that, you make the most of it. We certainly did. But we're certainly looking forward to seeing what that brings for the next season, because we feel like we found not only one really good quarterback that we knew we had in Randy Hippert, but another quarterback, in Warren Smith that could win and start in any team in our league.
Now, real quick before we hit our first break, looking ahead to 2020, just real quick a little bit. It's really tough to tell early on, like as far as the guys who you're going to bring back for next season, because the playoffs still have to finish up. Those guys have to say, all right, I want to come back to Philly, Albany, or Baltimore, or something like that, or say I want to get out of there. Knowing that you still have to kind of wait a couple weeks until free agency really opens up for the Arena Football League, and knowing that there are going to be at least two more teams announced for next season during the Arena Bowl, possibly even another one or 2 additional ones later in the summer or by September. So when you look at that, what's your frame of mind, you and your staff, knowing that you have to kind of take these 2 weeks to kind of wait around, get things tidied up, and then you work at as far as who you're bringing back for next season? Well,
free agency is actually a while down the road, because we're going to have to wait until after the expansion teams get set, and then they're going to have, there's a dead period for about a month, and then there's going to be free agency announced sometime in the fall. We just don't know when that's going to be at this point. It's all about re-recruiting it, right now, because what we want to do is we want to retain as many of our players as we possibly can from this season, because we have a good core group, and we've got guys that can really play in this league, and they're only going to get better when they play with one another, and you see that with the good teams. These are teams that have had players playing for them for the last couple seasons, if not more, like in Philadelphia, and that's what gives you that type of momentum going into the next year, and that continuity is huge. So hopefully we can do that, and that's going to be a priority for us. And then finding the pieces that join that, knowing that we can bring in 35 players into training camp and get down to our 24 again, and find some more diamonds in the rough. I think we did a great job of that this past off season, and that held true during the year. So it's going to be a process, but one that we're looking forward to, and one that we're excited about, because we can see a bright future here in Atlantic City.
Blackjacks Weekly presented by Bud Light. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, Coach and I will hear some highlights from this past season. We'll start looking ahead to next year. We'll even talk about some of those nice bright moments from 2019 as well. So make sure you keep it locked. Listening to Blackjacks Weekly presented by Bud Light, live from Chickens and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen this and every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. for the Pete Thompson Show on 97.3 ESPN. Wake up with the PT for great sports stories and his take on the Phillies, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, South Jersey sports, and more. So start your Saturday morning with South Jersey's sports guy, Pete Thompson. This and every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. on the Pete Thompson Show on 97.3 ESPN.
Ever wonder what ingredients are in Bud Light? Just check the packaging. We brew with hops, barley, water, and rice. Ever wonder what ingredients are in Coors Light? You can't check the packaging. You have to go to their website, download a PDF, and scroll to page 3. There it is. Coors Light brews with hop extract, barley, water, and corn syrup. Bud Light, brewed with no corn syrup. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri. Based on information available at MillerCoors.com as of January 16, 2019.
Tropicana Atlantic City is not just a 24-hour gaming destination, it's a premier resort providing entertainment for everyone. Located on the beach and boardwalk, it's home to a wide variety of restaurants, bars, pools, and their very own IMAX theater. This season, Tropicana Atlantic City is proud to team up with the Atlantic City Blackjacks as the 2019 inaugural season presenting sponsor. For more information, visit Tropicana.net. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tilton Fitness, the official gym of the Atlantic City Blackjack players and Diamonds Dance Team, invites you to visit one of our 7 locations throughout New Jersey. Try one of Tilton Fitness's award-winning group exercise classes with over 125 to choose from every week. Use our state-of-the-art cardio and resistance equipment. Take a swim in our pool. Relax in our jacuzzi, steam room, or sauna. And complimentary babysitting for up to 2 hours. Tilton Fitness. See what we have to offer you.
Credit Karma can help you make financial progress by giving you free scores, reports, and monitoring. But Credit Karma does not give you the love that only a mother can. It's just an app.
I miss my mom.
But you can use Credit Karma to help you improve your credit. But it cannot solve the eternal questions surrounding the human condition.
Oh, come on, I need answers.
But signing up is free. No credit card needed. Just download the Credit Karma app now.
Oh, there's my answer.
Credit Karma. Here's to progress.
Never go hungry when you have Stir It Up Catering right around the corner. Established in 2002, Stir It Up caters events from Cape May to Philly and everything in between. Catering services range from elegant dinner parties and large weddings to casual food for a laid-back gathering. Standing by the Jersey Fresh motto, Stir It Up Catering supports local farms and fisheries by selecting all homegrown products. Stop by their new storefront off Tilton Road in Egg Harbor Township or go online to stirritupnj.com.
The doctors at Reconstructive Orthopedics are dedicated to getting you expert orthopedic care you need for your bone, joint, muscle, or ligament injury or condition. When you need exceptional care focused on you, see the same orthopedic doctors that treat the Atlantic City Blackjacks at Reconstructive Orthopedics. Available in Bordentown, Cherry Hill, Medford, Morristown, Sewell, Vineland, and Voorhees. Reconstructive Orthopedics, focused on you.
Ever wonder what ingredients are in Bud Light? Just check the packaging. We brew with hops, barley, water, and rice. Ever wonder what ingredients are in Coors Light? You can't check the packaging. You have to go to their website, download a PDF, and scroll to page 3. There it is. Coors Light brews with hop extract, barley, water, and corn syrup. Bud Light, brewed with no corn syrup. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri. Based on information available at MillerCoors.com as of January 16, 2019.
This is Blackjacks Weekly.
Presented by Bud Light on 97.3 ESPN.
Live from Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township.
5 seconds left. Stevens on to kick the field goal for Baltimore. 20-yard attempt. Blackjacks up by a point. Snap, hold, kick on the way. It is blocked! It is blocked! It is no good! And the Blackjacks have the lead with a second left. Oh my goodness! They had the football and Trot Dillon blocked it, and the Blackjacks are hanging on for the victory. Back here at Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township, it's Blackjacks Weekly presented by Bud Light. Nick Kosko alongside head coach Ron James. I don't want to toot my own horn, but that was probably the best moment of the season right there, Coach.
No, it was great and well said, too. I mean, it was one of those plays that just you had to be in the moment. You certainly were, and it was exciting.
I thought Coffee Jones, my color analyst all season long, I thought we were going to jump out of the booth because that was one of the few times this season. Although a lot of games at home where we came down to the wire, we would, stand up a little bit. But that time, we don't want to block press row behind us. But that time, we were standing up. We were bent over like we were going to go out there and block a field goal as well. So take me back to that game. That obviously is one of the highlights of the season, where you guys beat Baltimore for the second time in 3 weeks, no matter, at home. You get the 3-3, go into so after the first half of the season, you're at 3-3, much needed win after the tough loss the previous week. and it's Antron Dillon who comes out of nowhere, runs his man over. You guys blow up the middle of the line. He's got a clear lane, blocks the field goal, and that might be the most fired up I've ever seen you.
Well, we talk about all the time about the small plays, things and field goal block, it's not a small play, but we always work on the extra point and field goal blocks every week, and you never think it's going to come down to it. And you talk about how we want to do this and that, and then the guy just makes a play, and so it kind of validates all that work on something that really doesn't happen that often. We don't kick a lot of field goals in this league, and when you do, if you get a block, it's huge, and especially at the end of the game to seal the win. It couldn't have been at a more opportunistic time for us as a team, because, like you said, it evened up our record at the time, put us into the second half of the season, and we felt pretty good about where we were going at that point. And little did we know that after that game, our guys really put it out on the line, and there was so many injuries going after that game that it was just, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful that we won the game. And then you got to look at the reality of what happens next.
It's almost at what cost, right?
Yeah, exactly. Tough.
It is one of those things. But at least when you look back on, obviously, especially once you hit next season, you're preparing for next year. And if people bring up the 2019 season, you can say, well, yeah, it was up and down, a little disappointing. But you can look at a game like that where you have the right character guys in there that would sell out for a game like that. It's week 6. I know every game counts because it is football, right? But that's one of those games where I know the road trip kind of put a roadblock in your plans this year, but that's the type of game that could propel a team. And if you should have a game like that next season in 2020, another game like that, all of a sudden that might get you to 3-3. Then all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, you're 6-3. It is one of those types of games.
Yeah, it certainly is, and in a season full of what ifs, right? Because you always think about that afterward. But that was certainly a game that we needed to win. Our guys had the energy and the execution at the end of the football game, and it was exciting. And so, looking forward to next year, those are exactly the type of games we expect to win. And seeing that we can do that in those situations really buoyed the team and gives us the opportunity moving into next year to do great things.
Now, as we look at the 2020, we'll do that a little bit more here in this segment. So when you talk about expansion, last year 4 teams. This year you bring in you guys obviously in Atlantic City, and obviously Columbus came back after their let's just call it a 10+ year hiatus, so to speak. They rebranded a little bit, right. But now there's at least 2 new teams coming in for next season. We talked about this a little bit the other week, kind of off the air. Would you like to see a 12-game schedule, a 14-game schedule? So let's just say 2 new teams come in, so you're at 8 for 2020. They will be announced in August. We're not sure where they're going to be yet. I would assume upward in the Northeast area, maybe down towards Kentucky, maybe Cleveland comes back as well, Carolinas. You don't know yet. But knowing that expansion's coming, then you mentioned it before, free agency's kind of on hold until those teams are settled in, and then everything kind of resets from that point. Knowing that you guys are going into year 2 and you're not the new kids on the block, and it's going to be 2 new teams, what's that do for you as an organization?
Well, it enables us to have solid ground. We don't have to rush to put everything together like we did this year. And I think our staff and our front office, George Manius and all these guys that work at Jimmy and all they did a tremendous job of getting the set up. It was tough to get up and running and get things going in that short order. And so maybe these other teams have those type of limitations or those type of problems or for us we won't have that. So we got ourselves in solid ground, ready to go for next year, and a lot of the things that are already in place will help us move along quicker in the offseason process. So, that's exciting for me as well. This is the first time I've ever had an expansion team, and I think that, obviously we played very well and played hard at times and did some great things, and we left a few out there, but, you look at the 2 expansion teams and look at what Columbus went through, winning 1 game, and still having a great turnout with their fans, and we gave great games to our home crowd, and we were 500 at home. So, when you look at the positives and the things we did, we showed ourselves to be a good football team in Boardwalk Hall, and that's important moving forward.
Right, and that's impressive considering, as you just mentioned, the slow start because everything was crunched in. The team was announced in February. The team name wasn't even announced till March. The team name and branding. I would assume. Guys want to play for certain coaches. They want to play for certain towns, maybe, but the branding and who the team is important to some of these players too, and they didn't even know who the team was until March when they announced it as the Blackjacks. And so now that expansion's coming, as we just mentioned, and you guys, as you just mentioned, solid ground now. You're gonna have a little more time to figure things out. You're on that solid ground now. You have an arena. You can now build up from here, which was a great turnout for year number 1. As kind of a fan, I guess, of the Arena League, where would you like to see these 2 new teams come in?
Well, I'd like to see it geographically around Columbus, somewhere where like us, they've got some close road trips, some issues where they can just get on a bus and go someplace. And I think that's big for us. I mean, as much as, we'd like to have a couple wins against Philadelphia, but we know that just because they swept us this year, we were in both of those games, and it's a geographical rivalry.
Yeah.
I'll call it a rivalry when we finally beat them. But
I'll just say, I've had a lot of problems back in my Rutgers days where we're trying to claim we have a Penn State rivalry, and they say, well, you beat us in football, once or twice back in the 80s or something? So
exactly.
I get that for sure.
But that's the thing, though, that I'm hoping for, expansion is that Columbus will have that close proximity team, somebody that they can play against and
maybe
develop
like
a rivalry.
Maybe if they come back.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's something in that geographical area that's maybe they have two teams that are out there that, just similar to us, where our longest trip is Albany, and that's not a bad trip, So you're looking at, a lot of things that are cost friendly for the ownership groups, and a lot of things that'll be very competitive on the field, and maybe some heated rivalries. I mean, the fact that our Philadelphia games, they swept us this year, and kudos to them, but at the same time, we had some real knockdown dragouts. I mean, with them.
That's some battles with those guys.
Yeah,
at least
two out
on
of three
the
games.
field, these guys don't like each other when it's AC versus Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 out of 3. Those were one possession deals, and so hopefully that they can develop that, and I'd love to see that happen, and I think that's how the league's expansion would suit me better, and as coaches, we want to be as hyper competitive as we possibly can during the football season, and then as supportive as we can be in the offseason to see the growth of the league.
Not just for the Blackjacks, but for the entire league. There's a lot to look forward to for 2020. We're going to step aside, take another quick break. On the other side, Coach and I will look at some final parting thoughts. Maybe I'll even get Coach's prediction for the Arena Bowl this year. I'll try to get that out of him, too, as well. Make sure to keep it locked. It's Blackjacks Weekly, presented by Bud Light, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, South Jersey, it's Billy Schwein from The Locker Room. Join me this and every Saturday at 10 a.m. as we recap the week in sports. Each week, I'll be joined in studio by my twin brother, Bobby, and Scotty McKay as we debate all the hot topics in sports. I will interview a wide variety of sports celebrities from the Philadelphia sports scene and more. Get your sports talk from a fan's perspective, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with a Schweiner. It's The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Saturdays 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
Tropicana Atlantic City is not just a 24-hour gaming destination, it's a premier resort providing entertainment for everyone. Located on the beach and boardwalk, it's home to a wide variety of restaurants, bars, pools, and their very own IMAX theater. This season, Tropicana Atlantic City is proud to team up with the Atlantic City Blackjacks as the 2019 inaugural season presenting sponsor. For more information, visit Tropicana.net. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ever wonder what ingredients are in Bud Light? Just check the packaging. We brew with hops, barley, water, and rice. Ever wonder what ingredients are in Coors Light? You can't check the packaging. You have to go to their website, download a PDF, and scroll to page 3. There it is. Coors Light brews with hop extract, barley, water, and corn syrup. Bud Light, brewed with no corn syrup. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri. Based on information available at MillerCoors.com as of January 16, 2019.
Tilton Fitness, the official gym of the Atlantic City Blackjack players and Diamonds Dance Team, invites you to visit one of our 7 locations throughout New Jersey. Try one of Tilton Fitness's award-winning group exercise classes with over 125 to choose from every week. Use our state-of-the-art cardio and resistance equipment. Take a swim in our pool. Relax in our jacuzzi, steam room, or sauna. And complimentary babysitting for up to 2 hours. Tilton Fitness. See what we have to offer you.
With approved credit requires GMF financing on some models. See dealer for details. Need a car? Get to Bennett Chevrolet's July liquidation sale. Because Bennett's totally overstocked, they must liquidate over 200 vehicles immediately. So Bennett's selling all new vehicles at $1,000 below the GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, as much as 25% off the sticker. Add it up, $1,000 under plus 25% off the sticker. There's no fuzzy math here, just humongous savings during Bennett's July liquidation sale. And if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett's giving a minimum $7,000 for any rusted out gas guzzling, oil burning, exhaust popping clunker. No matter what, if you can get it here, you'll get a minimum $7,000. Imagine how much more yours could be worth. And because Bennett Chevrolet's non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend, there's never any pressure, ever. Nobody beats a Bennett Chevy deal. Nobody. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
The doctors at Reconstructive Orthopedics are dedicated to getting you expert orthopedic care you need for your bone, joint, muscle, or ligament injury or condition. When you need exceptional care focused on you, see the same orthopedic doctors that treat the Atlantic City Blackjacks at Reconstructive Orthopedics. Available in Bordentown, Cherry Hill, Medford, Morristown, Sewell, Vineland, and Voorhees. Reconstructive Orthopedics, focused on you.
Ever wonder what ingredients are in Bud Light? Just check the packaging. We brew with hops, barley, water, and rice. Ever wonder what ingredients are in Coors Light? You can't check the packaging. You have to go to their website, download a PDF, and scroll to page 3. There it is. Coors Light brews with hop extract, barley, water, and corn syrup. Bud Light, brewed with no corn syrup. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri. Based on information available at MillerCoors.com as of January 16, 2019.
This is Blackjacks Weekly.
Presented by Bud Light on 97.3 ESPN.
Live from Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township.
Brown, the motion man, right side. Smith takes the snap, fakes it, and now he's going to run himself. Here goes Warren Smith, walking into the end zone for a touchdown. Throws the ball to the Washington bench, and the Blackjacks extend the lead.
Here we go. Now we got a little bobsled offensively, little cheerleading.
I love the celebration. Smith, Still, Brown, and Mawee involved in that one. Gotta love it. 41-28. Blackjacks on top. Warren Smith, gotta say it again, you are ridiculous. Back here at Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township, Nick Kosko alongside head coach Ron James. I mean, that says it all. Warren Smith is ridiculous because he brought something to the, again, Randy Hippert, former MVP quarterback, he can slice and dice him all day, over 70% completion percentage. He could throw 100 touchdowns if he wants. Warren Smith added that extra dimension when he came in, a little bit of a spark. He was able to run the football, and he ran all over Washington a couple weeks ago down in D.C.
You know, what a blessing to have two great quarterbacks. You know, you got a guy like Randy who's unbelievable and such a leader. So great to be around on and off the field. And then you got Warren, class guy. I mean, the same could be said for him. Great to be around on and off the field. But he does bring that extra dimension, you know, that little bit of trickery, that little bit, you know, there was some plays that they just were not ready for.
Yeah.
They weren't ready for it, you know,
they weren't.
And Warren has been prepared for that moment the whole season, and it was great to see that happen for him.
Now, let's two quick things before we wrap up things here, Coach. One, I know you say you'd like to have them both back. Do you see that right now as a great possibility to have both quarterbacks back? And also, two, I need your Arena Bowl prediction.
Well, I don't see us being able to retain both quarterbacks, only because they're just that good, and there's going to be some opportunities for both of those guys to pick where they want to play for next year. So I'm hoping that we can bring them both back, but, you know, the odds say probably not. You know, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I love both those guys. I know they're very loyal to me and to what we're doing here in Atlantic City, so I never discount anything. Didn't think I was going to get them both to start the season.
So you never know. Get them both again.
You never know.
Quickly, Arena Bowl prediction. I'm going to have to go with Albany and Philadelphia, and I guess I'll roll with Albany to win the whole thing this year.
I'd love to see, you know, a matchup with Baltimore and Philadelphia, but I'm going to go Albany and Philly as well, but I'm taking the Soul.
For a fourth championship.
Yep.
Just remind folks, if Baltimore and Philly play in the Arena Bowl, Philly will be the host team, and they're going to be playing at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. So don't miss out on that if that happens, as Blackjacks will be out in full swing as well somehow. It's been Blackjacks Weekly presented by Bud Light. Thank you to Coach James all season long. We'll see you in 2020, fans. Keep it tuned here to 97.3 ESPN.